My child, listen now, for the hour that circles your life has begun to draw close, and the air around you has started to shift in ways you have not yet learned to see. You feel it in the quiet moments when your thoughts drift beyond your walls. You feel it in the sudden stillness that settles into your bones. You feel it in that deep breath you take right before sleep, when something inside you whispers that change is approaching, inevitable and precise, like dawn following the longest night. My child, there are movements in your life that do not begin with your footsteps. There are journeys that begin before your mind consents to them. There are callings that rise beneath your ribs long before your voice learns how to answer. You have begun to sense a pull, not from fear, not from confusion, but from something older, wiser, and far greater than the thoughts that trouble your days. This pull is the beginning of removal, not removal as loss, but removal as deliverance. Removal as release. Removal as the opening of a door that no one else around you even sees. You think you are walking through ordinary time, my child, but you are not. You are walking across a threshold where the familiar must loosen its grip so the promised can take its place. There is a home you've known. There is a room where your hopes tried to settle. There is a window you stared through, believing your life must remain framed by those walls. You have grown accustomed to that space, even as it began to shrink beneath the weight of your destiny. You believed you could stay because staying was easier than stepping into uncertainty. You believed you could mold yourself to the size of your surroundings. But you were not made to remain where you are. Your spirit has outgrown the corners you've tried to fit yourself into. My child, you feel the tension because you stand on holy ground disguised as ordinary life. And I tell you this now, not to frighten you, not to push you, but to prepare you. What has sheltered you until now will not shelter you in the days to come. The shelter you need has not yet been built around you. It waits in a place your feet have not touched, and the time is nearing when you will be moved, lifted, guided, drawn out, so that you may meet what was always written for you. There is a moment approaching when the walls you know will release their hold. You may think it is sudden, but it has been forming quietly for years, layer by layer, like the unfolding of a prophecy you never knew was being spoken over your life. Each disappointment, each delay, each night you questioned your path, they were not signs of abandonment. They were signs of preparation. You have asked more than once, "Why am I still here? Why am I still waiting?" But my child, the waiting was not punishment. The waiting was instruction. The waiting taught your eyes how to see beyond the immediate. The waiting taught your heart how to feel beyond the present. The waiting carved space inside you so you could carry what is coming next. If you had been moved earlier, you would not have understood the weight of the blessing. If you had been pulled too soon, you would not have recognized the doorway when it opened. Arriving early would have only taught you confusion. Arriving now will teach you fulfillment. But hear me. When the moment arrives, it will not come dressed in comfort. Change rarely looks like victory at first. It looks like disruption. It looks like the crumbling of routines you held onto for safety. It looks like a shaking beneath your feet. But my child, the ground shakes only when something buried beneath it is about to rise. Do not be afraid of the trembling. Do not tremble because the world around you shifts. Stand still. Let the wind move. Let the familiar fall apart if it must. What collapses is what was never meant to stand in your future. What remains will be what you are meant to build upon. You may face a moment where you look around and say, everything is changing, everything is moving, everything feels strange. And in that moment, breathe. For nothing is being taken from you that is meant to stay, and nothing is being given to you that you are not ready to receive. There is a path awaiting your first step. It is not behind your home nor beside it. It lies beyond it. And when the time approaches, you will not need to force anything. Doors will open without your hands. Opportunities will approach without your chasing. People meant to walk with you will appear without your calling. What is meant for you will find you because it has been searching for you longer than you have been searching for it. My child, in the hours ahead, you must hold your faith like a lantern, steady, lifted, unwavering. For the path you are about to walk is illuminated not by what you see, but by what you trust. You will not always understand the timing. You will not always comprehend the shifts. But you will feel the truth inside you. You will feel the guidance that leads you. You will feel the peace that descends upon you, especially in the moments when everything external appears chaotic. Do not mistake stillness for abandonment. Do not mistake silence for distance. Do not mistake waiting for forgetting. These moments are the breath before the next great word spoken over your life. The silence is where transformation roots itself. The stillness is where the new gathers its strength. The pause is where the path rearranges beneath your feet, so that the moment you step forward, you step onto ground that will not break. But you must trust. And trust is not always quiet. Sometimes trust shakes. It trembles. It questions. But it stands. You are not being moved because you are unwanted where you are. You are being moved because you are needed where you are going. There is a difference. You have spent years believing your purpose could unfold inside the limits you know, but the truth is that your purpose is larger than the place you tried to contain it. You were never meant to bloom in a pot too small for your roots. And so, my child, the moment is nearing. You will feel it approach like the changing of a season. Before the leaves fall, they loosen. Before a river flows, the ice cracks. Before a seed breaks open, the soil shifts. Before a destiny unfolds, a life is moved. You are standing in that movement now. There will come a day soon when the signs will gather around you, little things at first. A conversation that stirs something old inside you. A door that closes with surprising ease. A dream that feels more like memory than imagination. A sudden urge to prepare a part of your life you've long ignored. A sense that the air has changed, subtle but unmistakable. Pay attention to these signs. They are not random. They are invitations. They are quiet confirmations that you are being guided step by step, even when you cannot yet see where the path bends. And when the day arrives, when your life shifts, when the familiar moves aside, when you feel the nudge from within, it will feel like standing on a threshold of both loss and beginning. But know this, what feels like loss is often the first breath of becoming. You may feel a moment of fear, a moment of hesitation. But my child, fear is not a stop sign. Fear is a doorway. Step through it with faith. Faith that what leads you forward does not lead you into harm. Faith that what is being prepared ahead of you is greater than what you leave behind. You will not be abandoned to uncertainty. You will be accompanied into purpose. You will not walk alone. You will walk guided. You will walk strengthened. You will walk with a presence that does not leave, does not falter, does not forget. There will come a moment when you look back on the home you knew, not in sadness, but in gratitude. You will see how it shaped you, held you, protected you, and how it became too small the moment your destiny grew too large. You will realize that leaving was not rejection, but expansion. Not an ending, but an unfolding. Ahead of you is a place where your gifts will find room to breathe. Ahead of you is a season where the things you prayed for will begin to manifest in ways that surprise you. Ahead of you is a calling you are fully prepared for, though you do not yet realize it. Ahead of you is a life that aligns with the truth you have always carried but rarely expressed. My child, you are looking for clarity, and I want you to understand the meaning behind the changes forming around you. When I prepare to move someone, the signs often appear before the instructions. You have already felt the shift happening inside you before the physical movement begins. You sense the uneasiness, the restlessness, the realization that your present environment is no longer producing the growth it once did. These impressions are not accidents. They are indications that your season is transitioning. They are reminders that you are being prepared for a new phase of your life. This has happened many times throughout the history of those who were obedient to my guidance. And I want you to see how the same pattern applies to your situation now. Consider first the moment when Joseph woke in the middle of the night after receiving a message through a dream. The instruction he received was immediate and firm. He was told to take Mary and the child and leave for Egypt without delay. There was no promise of convenience, no detailed explanation of what would happen next, and no assurance that the road would be easy. Yet the instruction was necessary for the protection of what mattered most. Joseph had to act before danger came close. He had to trust the warning even without seeing the threat with his own eyes. He had to set aside his own reasoning and follow a path he never expected to walk. This movement was not planned by him, but it was essential for the life and safety of the child entrusted to him. In the same way, there are moments when you must move before you feel fully prepared, moments when you must walk forward because remaining where you are is no longer aligned with what I am developing in you. Joseph did not hesitate because the instruction was clear, but the clarity did not erase the difficulty. Still, his obedience preserved what was fragile, valuable, and at risk. You must recognize that movement in your life may serve a similar purpose. It may be about preservation, growth, or redirection. It may involve responsibilities or gifts that you do not yet fully understand, but that require a safer or more suitable environment to be properly nurtured. Mary and Joseph did not move to Egypt because they desired change. They moved because the situation demanded it. They had to protect the promise they carried. The place they once called home could no longer protect them. The path forward required trust in something greater than familiarity. This is what I want you to understand. Sometimes I remove you from what feels comfortable not because it is wrong, but because it can no longer support the future I am building within you. You may not see the full picture now, but the movement itself is part of your protection and preparation. Now consider the second example, the life of Paul. His life demonstrates a different type of movement. Mary and Joseph were moved for protection, but Paul was moved for purpose. His journey was not a single transition. It was a series of relocations, each one tied to a specific assignment. He did not stay in one place for long because each region required the message he carried. The shifts in his life were not signs of instability, but evidence of an active mission. At times, he was redirected unexpectedly. In some moments, the door to a certain region was closed, and in others, he felt compelled to travel somewhere he had not planned. These changes were not based on his personal preferences, but on the work he was meant to fulfill. You may feel that your life is moving too often or too abruptly, but consider how Paul's journey unfolded. Every stop, every city, every challenge, and every redirection shaped him into the person he needed to become. His movements were intentional. He was developing strength, wisdom, and resilience, even when the transitions were tiring. Each new place introduced him to people who played a role in his growth or whose lives were changed because he arrived. When he faced storms at sea, he initially believed that the journey would end in destruction, but the storm itself led him to an island where he was needed. The hardships did not stop his purpose, they redirected it. Your movement may also involve purpose you cannot yet perceive. There may be people you are meant to meet, opportunities that will emerge only after you relocate, or lessons that can only be learned in a different environment. You might be moving not just for your own growth, but to contribute to something larger than yourself. Do not assume that the changes in your surroundings reflect a lack of direction. In many cases, they indicate that your purpose is expanding. When you combine the lessons from both examples, a fuller, richer, and more complete picture begins to emerge. A picture I want you to understand deeply, one that reveals why movement is a vital part of growth and purpose. Mary and Joseph demonstrate that movement can be a form of protection. Their journey was not chosen for convenience or personal desire. It was necessary to preserve what had been entrusted to them. The child they carried was more than just a baby. He was the embodiment of a purpose far greater than their immediate understanding. Their relocation to Egypt was an act of divine preservation, a move that ensured the life growing within Mary was kept safe until the proper time. Movement in this sense is not about running away from difficulty, but about creating space where what I have placed inside you can mature and flourish. Sometimes, to protect the potential within you, you must leave environments that are familiar but unsafe or limiting. Paul's life, in contrast, shows us that movement can also be about assignment. Paul was not fleeing danger. He was being led from place to place to fulfill a calling. Every city he traveled to, every community he entered, was a stage for the gifts, insights, and revelations he carried to take root in the lives of others. His movement illustrates that the place you are in does not limit the impact you are meant to have. There are seasons when you are ready not just to survive, but to influence, to serve, and to expand your reach. Your movement becomes the channel through which the work within you is released into the world. The timing, the sequence, and even the challenges encountered along the way are all orchestrated to maximize the effect of what you carry. Your life may hold aspects of both stories. There may be things you are carrying that require a safer, more supportive environment. At the same time, you may also be entering a season where your talents, insights, and experiences are ready to be used in ways that simply could not happen if you remained in your current position. The point is clear. Movement is not something to fear. Change is not a sign of loss of control or failure. Often it is evidence that I am taking control in areas where you have tried to manage everything on your own. When I move you, it may feel sudden or inconvenient, but the timing is precise. Instructions may seem challenging, but the purpose is necessary. The path may feel unfamiliar, but you will never walk it alone. You are guided even when every step cannot be seen or understood in the moment. Consider how both Mary and Joseph and Paul experienced their journeys. Neither received every instruction at the beginning. They did not have the full map laid out in advance. Guidance came as they moved, step by step, decision by decision. This is how faith grows, not by waiting until everything is clear, but by trusting each step as it is revealed. Waiting for total clarity before acting is not faith, it is hesitation. Faith is recognizing the prompt to move and responding with confidence that you are being led toward what is right. You may feel unprepared, uncertain, or anxious about the unknown, and that is normal. These feelings do not negate the purpose behind the movement. When I call someone forward, I do not rely on their readiness. I rely on my preparation. I arrange the unseen details. I clear obstacles before they are reached. I create opportunities where none appeared before. Every step you take is under my supervision, not your own. The uncertainty you feel in this season is not a warning. It is a sign of transition. When what once felt comfortable starts to feel restrictive, it is because you have outgrown it. When the environment that once offered peace no longer does, it is because your spirit recognizes that it is time to move forward. I often shift your inner atmosphere before the external shift occurs. I adjust your desires, your tolerances, and your awareness. I prepare you internally so that when the external change happens, you are ready to recognize it and embrace it. You are not being removed without reason. You are being positioned for what comes next. Just as Egypt became a sanctuary for Mary and Joseph, the next stage of your journey will offer what your current environment cannot provide. Just as Paul found purpose in every new location, you will discover opportunities and meaning in the places I lead you. Nothing about your movement is accidental. Nothing is wasted. Every transition is part of a larger design that stretches beyond your immediate vision. You may begin to notice subtle signs that a season is shifting. Circumstances may nudge you gently away from what is familiar. New opportunities may appear unexpectedly. Doors may close, not as punishment, but to guide you toward the doors that are meant to open. These signs are invitations to align with the direction of your life. They are not obstacles. They are signals that movement is necessary. When the moment comes to step into the next phase, you will understand why the movement was necessary. What once felt uncertain will become clear. You will see how each challenge, each closed door, and each unexpected circumstance brought you closer to the environment, the people, and the opportunities that align with your destiny. The transition was never meant to unsettle you. It was meant to prepare you. As you settle into what comes next, you will feel a deep sense of peace that confirms you are exactly where you are supposed to be. Move forward with confidence. You are guided, protected, and positioned for your purpose. The path ahead is prepared, and you will be strengthened for every step you take. Remember, movement is not just physical. It is spiritual, emotional, and relational as well. It is about moving beyond old mindsets, outdated habits, or limiting beliefs. It is about allowing growth in all areas of your life. Every change, every shift, and every step forward is part of the work I am doing in you to bring about maturity, fulfillment, and impact. Trust the process. Trust the preparation. Trust the timing. Even when the path is unclear, even when the future seems uncertain, you are not alone. You are being carried through every step, every bend, and every transition. So pay attention. Listen for the subtle nudges. Notice the doors that close and the opportunities that appear. Lean into the guidance that is already surrounding you. Understand that movement, while it may feel uncomfortable, is always purposeful. Every relocation, every transition, every redirection is part of a divine orchestration designed to bring the full measure of what is within you into the world at the right time and in the right way. When you embrace movement with faith, trust, and obedience, you position yourself for blessings, growth, and purpose beyond what you could have imagined. Move forward boldly. The path ahead is prepared. You are guided, protected, and positioned. You will be strengthened for every step. And as you continue to walk in faith, you will recognize that every transition, every change, and every movement has been leading you to the place you are meant to stand, fully prepared to fulfill your purpose.